In the previous video, you saw how you could project an image through a light source using the projector map channel. A creative use of this particular channel is to actually project shadows through the light. And I haven't talked much about shadows yet, but shadows can be computationally expensive, meaning it takes a long time to calculate them. And projecting shadows through a light is very efficient and quick. In this demonstration, we will create the shadows of a tree that isn't even there by creating a mask that goes into this slot. To get started with this, I'll create a new light source that's outside the room, shining in through the window. I'll create a target spot out here, and I'll drag the target into the room. Then I'll move the spotlight up so that it's shining through the window. I'd like to fine-tune the position and orientation of that light, so I'll look through it in the viewport. Drag the mouse wheel to move the light over so that it's centered on the window. Orbit the light if necessary so that it's shining down onto the floor, and adjust the hot spot and fall off so that it's focused on the window. I'll go back into perspective and take a look at what we have here. So it's a spotlight shining in through the window. Now, to create the illusion of shadows on the floor, we will need to generate a mask that represents the leaves of a tree. And one way to do that is to use the built-in foliage tools. They are located on the Create panel under Geometry, AEC Extended, Foliage. And off to the side somewhere, you can drag in a three-dimensional tree, such as the American elm. I tend to stay away from these trees because they have so many polygons that it generally takes too long to render, especially if you're trying to do radiosity. Now, the tree can show the trunk and the branches, and I've unchecked these because I'm just interested in the leaves. And I'd like to look at those in elevation, so I'm going to zoom in here in the back viewport into the canopy of the tree, and I'll make a test rendering. So there's the canopy in color. This is called the rendered frame window, and right now we're looking at the color information. But also, you can display the alpha channel, and that represents a mask. And this is what we want to use in our light. To get this into the light source, we have to save this bitmap as a file. Click this icon to save the bitmap, and select a format which supports an alpha channel. Use TIFF for that purpose, and call it Leaves. When you save, you're prompted to select which type of TIFF image you want. Select 8-bit color and store the alpha channel. Now you can delete the tree. We don't have to be concerned with all of those polygons. Select the new light source and add the projector map to the light. This will be a bitmap, and select the leaves TIFF that you just generated. So far, so good. Let's take a look at the room and see what we have. I'll do a test render, and you'll see a faint image of colorized leaves on the floor. And this isn't what I'm looking for. We're getting that because we're using the color version of the leaves. We need to edit that by opening up the Material Editor and then drag this map into a slot and instance it there. It's necessary to instance the map so that the changes that you make to it in the editor update the map here in the projector map channel. This is what we're dealing with right now. I'm going to scroll down here into the bitmap parameters rollout. And right now we're outputting color information in the color channel. This is the default. I need to change this to alpha as gray. Now we're going to be outputting the alpha channel for this map. So let's do another test render and see what we have. So we're starting to get something that looks like leaves, although it's backwards. What we need to do is use negative light to actually suck light out of the scene. And that is accomplished by using a negative multiplier. Just put a minus in front of the multiplier and hit enter. Do another test render and you'll see shadows, or what looks like shadows, appear on the floor here. And this is because the light is being removed in this area. If it's too dark, then change the multiplier. Perhaps I only want to suck out minus 0.1 on the multiplier, and the shadows won't be quite as dark. So use this technique when you want to simulate the complexity of a tree extremely efficiently using a mask in the projector map channel.